I'm Harrison Graham. Here's what we got coming up on Chicago Bears Now. Ben Johnson praising his general manager, Ryan Poles. We'll dive into that. Also, seems like every week there's new unsung heroes, and we saw a couple more emerge in the Bears win over the Steelers. And then are Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson going to return against the Philadelphia Eagles here on Black Friday? We dive into all these topics and more coming up here on today's show. But do you believe that the Bears can beat the Eagles here in just, 4 days? Black Friday, it's going to be here quick. If you do, get the Bear Downs going in the comment section below. All right, Ben Johnson at his Monday press conference had this to say just about the tight-knit group in that locker room. He said, I think we've got the right type of guys. Ryan Poles has really done a great job of constructing the roster that way. The veteran leadership is outstanding. Kevin Byard, who they got last year, obviously, Joe Thuney, Grady, Jarrett this year. We probably have 10 to 12 guys that we really lean into on a weekly basis just to get a pulse of the team, and they do a really good job of keeping the main thing in the locker room. It's really those veterans that I just can't sing their praises enough. Listen, Ryan Poles is certainly a polarizing figure among Bears fans, but I think one thing that he has done a much better job of really this offseason, but with Kevin Byard last year, that he kind of ignored his first few years, even when they were rebuilding, is even when you have a team that you don't really expect to go win a Super Bowl or anything, you got to have a couple of quality vets in that room. Guys who have been through the battles, guys who have seen winning, who have been there and done that. First few years, they just didn't have any of those guys. It was a lot of young guys. It was a lot of randoms. The veterans they did have were just like low-level players. Like, remember they brought, like, Riley Reef in. It's like, okay, that's not what I'm talking about. Grady Jarrett, we can talk about his contract. He is a very valuable guy to have on this team. And by the way, he's been playing better recently. Kevin Byard, he's been a hell of a leader since he got here. Joe Thuney, not the biggest rah-rah guy, but I don't think it's a coincidence that this offensive line has been awesome this year with him being a part of it. Drew Dahlman is a leader in that room as well. Jonah Jackson helps rally the troops. Like, listen, these guys just make a difference. You look at all the great teams, they always have those veterans. They always have those guys who teams can lean on. I mean, like last year, I'm not going to pick on the guy, and he's a vet and he's a rah-rah guy, but like when DeMarcus Walker is breaking you down before every game, like, again, I'm not going to rip on DeMarcus Walker, but it's like, okay, like he's a fine rotation player. Like that's not that inspiring to me, okay? They got dudes. They got dudes that they have brought in that have been there, that have done that. And oh, by the way, if we're going to sing Ryan Poles' praises a little bit, don't look now, but this draft class, remember after a month, 5 weeks, we're like, is anybody in this draft going to contribute? A lot of these guys contributing. Just yesterday, Colston Loveland had a touchdown, had a few nice catches. He's been contributing every week now. Luther Burden's role continues to have an uptick. Ozzy Trapilo, first career start at left tackle, played really well. Ruben Hyppolite made a few plays early before he left with an injury, stepping in for injured linebackers. Luke Newman played 22 snaps, held his own. I thought initially Ryan Bates went to the game. No, Luke Newman. So that's a good sign. That means he's progressing in practice to the point where he's your top backup guard. Kyle Monangai, for weeks now, has been contributing. Yesterday had a key touchdown as well. You're seeing development. And that's where the coaching staff obviously gets a lot of credit, but they picked some guys that can play. That's a really, really good thing to see. Like, it's up to the front office, along with input from the coaching staff, to pick the right players, and then it's up to the coaching staff to develop. And I think you're seeing both those things merge right now, and that's how you build a good team. You got to draft, you got to develop, and then you got to bring in the right veterans when you trade or sign guys in free agency. So, yeah, I think Ryan Poles has to deserve some credit here when it comes to those type of things. And kudos to Ben Johnson for giving him that credit when it comes to the roster construction. All right, we'll keep it rolling here on Chicago Bears Now, but this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The holiday season is here. It's the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right: Prize Picks. I don't know about you, but my season-long fantasy football team has been finished for weeks. That's why I like daily fantasy with Prize Picks, is I can play with different players all the time. and set new lineups every single day. Just pick 2 or more players and take more or less on their stat projections to qualify for a PrizePicks lineup. New feature alert, PrizePicks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Little 2-player lineup I like tonight. Christian McCaffrey, more than 7 targets. They've been peppering him in the passing game. And then Tedero McMillan, excuse me, has been Bryce Young's favorite target all year. 66.5 receiving yards. I like the more there. $20 lineup to win $60. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. Okay, more unsung heroes. A big theme of this season is guys stepping up. I mean, this team has been decimated with injuries, especially on the defensive side, and we saw it again. DeMarco Jackson, who we knew was going to play, led the team in tackles with 15. Eamon Ogbongbemiga, who we did not know was going to play at linebacker, when Ruben Hyppolite went down, he stepped in there. He had 14 tackles. For these 2 guys to combine for 29 tackles, I'm not saying they played perfect. Early on, it felt like the linebackers were out of position, but they're around the football. They're playing hard. Tackles, if nothing else, is a stat of motor. Like, you may not, some of these tackles might be 7 yards downfield, but you have that relentless effort, and that is something you can work with. That is something you can work with. You're talking about your LB4 and your what? LB6 in Eamon O. Eamon O is a special teamer, right? And he missed like the first 2 months of the year on IR, comes in a game he didn't expect to play, has 14 tackles. I mean, that's a job well done. The Bears are getting contributions from everyone. Everyone is contributing to this team. If you've been on the 53 this year, you've probably helped contribute to a win at some point. I mean, these are just a few specific examples of deeper backups stepping up and helping you win. Josh Blackwell blocks the field goal in Vegas. You win that game. Jake Moody, who's not even here anymore, helps you beat Washington. Kyle Monangai, when DeAndre Swift was out, goes for 200 all-purpose yards against the Bengals. Huge game. And then this week, DeMarco Jackson, Eamon Ogbongbemiga combined for 29 tackles. I mean, Ben Johnson kind of sarcastically said it in his locker room post-game speech. He was like, how are we going to win this game? We have no linebackers. Well, that's a testament to coaching and belief. Like, hey, this is why you put the work in training camp during the week, because when it's your time, you got to be ready to go. And these guys are ready to go. Doesn't mean they're perfect players. They're backups for a reason. But, hey, they're stepping up to the plate. They're taking on the challenge. The best example of this from a season-long standpoint is Nashawn Wright. No one even thought he'd make this team when they signed him. He's been unbelievable. So, really, really nice to see. I mean, their backups are playing better than starters would before, it feels like, on prior coaching staff. So, I just think this staff has done a really good job. And obviously, you got to give players credit, too. Like, they're out there making plays. So, really, really awesome stuff. Thank you guys so much. We hit 141,000 subscribers during our Bears-Steelers watch party. Next milestone's 142K. If you want to support the movement, if you want free and daily Bears content, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep the train rolling. All right, don't forget, Bears should get some key reinforcements this week to return, as it is a short week, but it felt like if it wasn't a short week that Jalen Johnson and or Kyler Gordon might have played on Sunday, but I think with the quick turnaround, they took the cautious route. I think at minimum, one of these two is playing, Jalen or Kyler. And you would probably lean Jalen because he's had more full participation practices. We'll keep an eye on TJ Edwards. If not this week, I would think that next game against Green Bay, he'll be back and ready to go. He was playing really well before the injury. Excuse me. So that would be potentially really, really big news for the Chicago Bears if they could get 1, 2 of these guys back this week, and then eventually all these guys back. Keep an eye on Tyreek Stevenson as well. He got banged up in that last game, so we'll monitor that on the injury report this week. Brad Biggs with a piece of news. Tight end Nikola Kalinick, who was a game day elevation yesterday. I guess he got hurt on special teams or something. He's been placed on the practice squad IR list. And the Bears have added 3 players to the practice squad. Dominic Hampton, who was actually a draft pick for the Commanders last year, kind of a safety linebacker hybrid. Kadir Ismail at tight end, need a practice squad tight end because remember, Stephen Carlson's game day elevations, they don't have any left, so you need a fourth option there in case you need a game day elevation. And then Jeremiah Martin, another defensive lineman in there as well. So they've added a few players to the old practice squad. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to this episode. As always, hit that subscribe button and bear down.